Kathryn Sullivan, one of the essays in Chicks Dig Time Lords, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Welcome to Mark Who 42. That's right, Mark Who 42, Doctor Who on Krypton Radio. I'm your host, Mark-Baumgarten, and with me, as always, are...
Christian-basel,
patty-hawkins,
kayla-ascolillo.
Wow, we got the whole gang together. And today's show features an interview with Kathryn Sullivan, who has written for Big Finish for the Doctor Who and bernice-summerfield lines of books, as well as Chicks Dig Time Lords, which was a pretty popular book, if I must add. But first, why don't we go straight to... Doctor Who News with Kayla-Ascolillo. Kayla, what kind of Doctor Who news do we have this week?
Starting with some sad news this week. David Tennant's father, Dr. Sandy McDonald, did die, unfortunately. Aww. He was 78, so pretty long life, but it's very sad, and we wish the Tennant family the best, or McDonald family, since Tennant is his stage name. Yeah,
that is sad. He was a reverend, wasn't he? He was in the part of the Church of England.
I believe he was, yes. Yeah, so very sad news.
Sad news. Our best wishes to the McDonald family and to all his parishioners.
In other news, Brian Blessed is hoping to get onto Doctor Who. He was offered the role back in '66 to replace William Hartnell.
Wouldn't that have been amazing? The second Doctor, Brian Blessed. Jamie, you're alive!
I just... When I heard about that, I truly boggled. I immediately saw him and Pertwee like staring at each other head to head, and that would have changed that whole dynamic. But there's no way in hell though I could have never done a Brian Blessed cosplay. So. No way.
You have a very good second Doctor cosplay.
I'd have to get a blonde wig and settle for trying to do 5. But I'm too masculine. I'm not to pull that off.
The problem is the bad guy would never have a word in edgewise. And Brian would just shout out everything. And any time you see those scenes where the villain keeps trying to say something and Brian just shuts him down every second. And then the villain tries to open his mouth and Brian says something again. And he opens. That would be just like the ending of every episode there.
So, Kayla, you're saying that Brian Blessed wants to be the Doctor?
It seems like he kind of wants the role that he was once offered that he had to turn down back in the 60s. So it's interesting. He would really like to be the Doctor, but it seems like he would be willing to come back in general.
I know he's too old to really pull it off, but damn, why didn't they make him the War Doctor? Now that would have been something.
That would have been amazing.
No offense to Mr. Hurt, but that would have pulled that off. He's a very much a character over in the UK. He's a bit kind of like the way we sort of look at George Takei. I mean, he does a lot of voice work, does a lot of guest appearances on shows. He's always entertaining.
I first came across Brian Blessed in I, Claudius. As the Emperor of Rome, Augustus, and I loved him in that.
One of his rare beardless roles.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, you can't forget Flash Gordon. I mean, playing the leader of the Hawkmen. Oh my God, that was...
Boltan. I maintain that you can say what you want about Flash Gordon, but the one thing you can't take away from that movie is that it is the most perfectly cast film of all time.
Damn straight.
Absolutely everybody in that movie was put here by the universe because the universe said, someday I want to see a really good Flash Gordon movie, so I'm going to create this person and this person and this person, and then I'm going to wait. And the stars were right, and just wow. And I won't do it here, but one of my geek stand-up acts, I do what if the cast of Flash Gordon was cast in A New Hope.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before. Yeah. Oh, that would have been great.
It's the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 passes!
Then the wings would have came out.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about ships. He would be the Millennium Falcon.
Well, you know what? Well, he was supposed to be in that Viking episode as
he was supposed to be Odin in the girl who died.
Oh, see, now that's interesting. I try not to read all the spoilers, so I didn't know about that.
No, it wasn't a spoiler.
Doing this show and not reading the spoilers. That's kind of weird.
It wasn't exactly a spoiler. It was more of a trivia that he was supposed to be for the role, but for scheduling. And I would have loved it, but I liked his character as Yaconis in Trial better than he would have been in Odin because it was too short, and I don't think it would have been enough for the personality that Brian Blessed brings out in a character.
You don't want to see Brian Blessed as a villain. You just don't. No. You want to see him because he's a perfect combination of a Klingon and a teddy bear, and yes. Bring him back as his old character. It's like bring him and let's see what kind of a life it's like he and McGee had.
Oh, you're talking about Nicola? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, that's what she is now.
Yeah.
He could pull off bad guy. The thing is that I think the character of Odin was too short and too vague for the personality of the character and everything that Brian Blessed punctuates in every character that he does.
You don't think they would have written it differently if they?
They may have, but the way it was written then, it just seemed like it was kind of a definite one-off, and I would think people would want to see Odin come back again.
Yeah,
seeing Blessed and Capaldi, yes. Boy, talk about a scenery chew-off. Good Lord. That's like a scenery eating contest.
Yeah.
I feel like such a baby on this show sometimes because you guys go off talking about stuff and I'm just like, okay, I trust you.
Believe us. Trust us, believe us.
This is a learning experience for you, Kayla. Enjoy.
This is not something we're proud of.
It certainly is. It makes me notice how uncultured I am.
You know what? When I hear conversations between Patty and Mark, when I first kind of started out with the team kind of moving in there, and then when we had the original team as well, they would have a discussion about Marvel or something else, and I kind of went into what some people do as the smile and nod thing. It's just, yeah, you're right. You're completely right. It's just like, do you know anything about it, Christian? But keep talking. I'm going to pretend right here that I do.
And you know what's funny that we brought up Flash Gordon? I just joined on Facebook a Peter Wingard official page.
Nice.
I found it, and someone invited me to it, so I joined it. And, he was in Planet of Fire, the Doctor Who story with Peter Davison and everything. But he was Jason King, and he was, of course, in Flash Gordon. Clytus. Oh, yes, Clytus.
Clytus. You never saw his face, but you heard his voice. And in my Star Wars version, he's Obi-Wan.
Go for
Mos Eisley, spaceport. We'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious. And that's when I put my arm around whoever's Luke.
Oh.
Salacious. But he played number 2 in Checkmate and the Prisoner.
Yes, he did.
Department S, which was the creation of Jason King.
Yeah.
And any comic fans out there, Grant Morrison's whole persona is a ripoff of the character of Jason King.
Is it really?
Yes. When he puts on his suits and he acts all like, I'm just too cool for this comic convention, but I'm gracing you with my presence, it's all a complete hack ripoff from Jason King.
So Christian and Kayla, case in point, what we just did, right?
Well, in defense, on Facebook, I've actually befriended last year Sam Jones. Somebody mentioned he was in both Flash Gordons, and I've forgotten that Sci-Fi Channel had tried to reboot Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
And he was actually in it as a different character. However, I remember, to me, it was how can we do Flash Gordon series without a budget, basically. That was essentially this Flash Gordon
terrible.
series.
They went through like portals to get to Mongo or something. It was instead of having the spaceships, just for part of the fun.
For folks who have not seen the Flash Gordon Sci-Fi, maybe you should not, but I feel that Sam Jones was in as a different character, but they basically, it's essentially how can we do a sci-fi series with absolutely no budget whatsoever.
Yeah, they used the sliders wormhole to get back and forth, and that's an easy effect to make.
It's just like the Never-Ending Stories 2 and 3. We pretend they don't happen, we just move.
Why do they need a Never-Ending Story 2 and 3? The first one never ended. Why would you do
Exactly,
3?
So you need 2 and 3 because it's It's never ending.
No. And the first one never ended, so we never needed to go to 2 or 3 unless it didn't.
My good friend Dementia Von Grimm, she at Conjure, she was the one going around as the General Kala.
Mhm.
That was her in that cosplay that some friends of mine developed. So,
and now, because Mark Who 42 is a Doctor Who show, let's go back to Doctor Who news with Kayla-ascolillo.
Yeah, that train derailed a lot.
too bad. I was about to go off on King's Watch, but I am going to say this real quick. The best Flash Gordon thing to come out in the past 15 years was Dynamite got the rights to not only Flash Gordon but also the King Features Syndicate strip characters. Jeff Parker, who is one of probably the best, most underrated comic writer right now. He did an amazing crossover series of Flash Gordon, Mandrake, and the Phantom, which was like an origin story for all 3 of them. And it ended with Flash being trapped on Mongo. And it is a superb read. It is absolutely superb. Yes, it was a miniseries called King's Watch.
King's Watch? Okay.
King's Watch, and it's absolutely amazing, and just blot all that Defenders of the Earth cartoon nonsense out of your brain because none of that has any relevance to this whatsoever.
Okay.
All right.
Now let's go back to Doctor Who.
With your permission?
Yes, with my permission as Mark Who 42.
Okay. So Peter Capaldi has said that there is going to be a lot of changes he's hinted that there's going to be a lot of changes in Series 10. He's kind of poked the button and said that there has been a companion cast, but we still haven't gotten any information about that. So who knows?
Do you think he has a say in it at this point?
To actually choose the companion, I don't think he'd have that power.
Well, I'm not saying to you like he's like choosing them, but I mean, I'm wondering though if they're like, all right, we tested you with these 3 people. Which one did you feel the most comfortable with?
Probably.
And I'm curious if he ever got into a snit and if he has like veto power.
I'm sure.
Well, no, because when they were casting Clara, Matt had say. Now, I don't think he has the overriding power as Moffat did, but remember, Moffat is still running this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Chibnall, I can't say it, Patty, you said it so many times. Yeah,
Hashtag Chinball.
Yeah, every time I try to curtail myself from saying it, I think of Patty, and right there I'm going and then cut myself off. Right. But yeah, I think when they were casting Clara for Louis, Jenna Nicole. Jenna, what the hell is her?
Jenna Coleman.
Coleman, thank you. I almost said Jenna Nicole Smith. I have no idea what I was talking about.
You know, I like Jenna Nicole
You know what, Patty and Mark have ruined me with this train wreck that we were putting. But
there is no train wreck. This was going perfectly to my plan.
So anyway, Jenna Nicole Smith, when they were deciding it, I think Moffat actually mentioned that Matt Smith had some say. I don't think he has the final deciding factor, but I would think that Moffat could tell the chemistry between them. If it worked, it didn't work. And I'm sure it would be a perfect fit for whoever, hopefully, that they pick for Capaldi's companion.
Yeah, I would hope he had a little bit of say, because especially him and Jenna, they didn't click as much, I don't think. Right. So I would hope that they would give him a little bit of leeway with the next one, especially if they're trying to get him to stay on a little bit longer. That might be like a little bit of a incentive, like, hey, so we'll give you more input if you stay.
Well, it's not so much input. I don't think it's that. I think that's really just, hey, we're thinking about this. Are you okay with that? You know, I mean, let me remember when we interviewed Louise Jameson just very shortly ago. You know, I mean, Tom just wanted the Doctor by himself, and he didn't care who was in the room when he said it. And
right.
So it just always strikes me too, because again, they're obviously courting Capaldi to hang around for at least one season under Chimballs, just in case things don't work out. Not that I expect that they won't, but you know, again, I think, you know, I mean, I'm curious. I'm curious nowadays what the process is going into developing a modern companion.
Patty, you've ruined me. I'm going to go at a convention. The next convention we go to, I'm going to sit down on the panel, and I will try to say Chris's last name, and that will pop out, and I will be ruined for life.
I'll just die laughing.
I will just die.
You will die.
Yeah, he's forever going to be chin balls now.
There you go.
Oh, stop. We have children listening to this lovely show. Behave, everyone, please. Okay.
All right, so big
But
news.
he's gonna catch wind of this, and we're gonna be banned off of it.
We're banned already. Marku42 here on Krypton Radio.
Mark, I don't know what we're gonna do. I guess is it okay for this episode to do
Is
this?
this the not safe for work episode?
We've hit the big time, and we're calling them chin balls.
Yeah, exactly.
New companion coming.
Oh yeah, we were talking about a new companion. Wouldn't it be great? You know, there was a rumor that one of the characters who just left EastEnders is going to be
I know
And
who you're talking.
Kush's wife, Masood's daughter. And I, for the life of me, you know, I've been watching EastEnders all this week. I'm in the middle of last month, so she just left, and I cannot, for the sake of me, remember her name. And I apologize if you become the new companion that I didn't say your name. But I think she'd make a good companion. And she is of the Muslim persuasion, or at least the character was. And I think that would be an interesting fit.
It would definitely be interesting to see another woman that's not, you know, your stereotypical Caucasian girl. I mean, we had Martha, but we haven't had anyone else that's been really that, like, out of the little box.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see, especially a Muslim woman.
And again, that's what her character was. I don't know if in real life that's what she is. But she is not Caucasian.
And again, the nice thing about Doctor Who is that there's diversity is built into its DNA. Mm-hmm. It's not executed as often as it probably has been in the past, but I think there's something to make up for that.
Definitely.
As long as they put character ahead of some knee-jerk agenda of, oh, well, we need, somebody online complained we never had this character, so let's make this character. It's like, no, just do what's right for the show and the direction of the show and whatever, you know. I'm still waiting for my 1950s, whatever Chairman Mao says, it's like pro-communist Chinese girl.
Oh, my God.
No, I'm dead serious. I think that would...
I agree.
Yeah. I would love to see a companion from the middle 20th century, which is now like getting really old, even though we don't quite believe it because our parents lived through it. But it's an interesting perspective, I feel like.
Yeah, just by the way, the character's name was Shabnam Masood, and she was played by Rocky Thakrar, and I probably got the name wrong. But she had actually, there was someone who played her back in 2000 to 2008. But it was a different person. But Rocky played her from 2014 to just a couple of weeks ago. She was a good character. She was very dramatic, and a lot of times overly dramatic. But, you know, it's a soap opera, so what are you supposed to
I'm about to say, it's soap opera.
Yeah. Her last episode was February 5th of this year. So, you know, and
speaking of soap operas, isn't the whole cast of Downton Abbey all looking for new gigs now?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's over. No more Downton Abbey.
How did that end? Did they all blow up or something?
No,
they all get killed. They all get killed in the Blitz because that would have been awesome.
No, they purposely left it open so that years from now someone could come back and do another series.
As long as somebody dumps prawns all over Maggie Smith, I'm okay with it. Because that's the only scene of the only I ever saw, and my mom was watching it, and she actually sent me to my room.
Well, you know,
you're 42 years old. She sent me to my room.
I liked the fact that Prime Minister Harriet Jones was on the show.
Oh, was she? Oh, okay.
Yeah, she had a big part, actually. Do we have any more news, Kayla?
We do. We have one last big thing, and it's actually to do with the radio show itself. We are on Big Finish.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That is huge news for us. Our podcast with the interview of Nicholas Briggs is on the Big Finish website.
Yeah, definitely. We were featured since Wednesday of last week. I think as of Sunday, we're still on the front page, and you can find it when they change the podcast listing. We'll be on their list, and we'll always be on. We are, I think, the first guest. I hope we're the first guest podcast, and hopefully we'll be doing some more with them. Big Finish, we want to have a nice working relationship. They work with Mark 42 Books, and we want a partnership so we can bring you more interviews with people from Doctor Who and other things through Big Finish. And I want to thank Nicholas Briggs. I want to thank Michelle Cobbs, and I want to thank Joseph Smith, people who we have dealt with at Big Finish, and they have been a great help, and they're just wonderful people at Big Finish, and I just want to say that. Also, here's some news. I don't know if you know this, but if you have a Roku device, one of those little boxes that'll turn your TV into a smart TV, and you can have like Netflix and all these different apps, well, Mark 42 now has a Roku app. So we are available for free. Why would you pay for us? You're getting us free on the net. We're free on your TV too.
Pretty exciting stuff for us.
Yeah.
Now, don't worry, you don't see us, so relax.
No. It's still, yeah, that's right. It is still audio. We're in the TV, video, Roku categories listings, but we are just audio. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
So you can crank us on your TV while you're doing the dishes or whatever, and it's another option that
another outlet for us.
Yeah. But Roku's cool though.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I get my Amazon Prime, my Hulu, and my Netflix on it. I've got all three. I can't believe that.
So if you are out somewhere in your couch, on your phone, you can get us somewhere. You can just Google us and we'll find it. But we're all over the place now, and we're expanding out even more.
Yeah.
And yes, we appreciate our partnership with Big.
And everybody, take a drink, because that was the biggest self-promotion we've ever... Drink the whole glass.
It's one of the best self-promotions.
That's good stuff. Okay. Do we have birthdays, Kayla?
We do have some birthdays. Woo-hoo! On March 20th, we had Freema Agyeman. The 21st, Peter Pratt and Bruno Langley. And the 22nd, we had Mary Tam.
Oh, Mary, we miss you.
Freema just bailed out of MegaCon this year.
She had to leave MegaCon, and they were able...
And I'm not saying that against her or anything. It's just these things certainly happen. And John Barrowman, Captain Jack, is replacing her, correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
And Jenna Coleman, unfortunately, left for the second time from MegaCon, so that's stinky poo. I'm hoping she'll come back.
Jenna.
Well, I bet if she finds work, they have,
I know. They have to. The work comes first. Conventions come second.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so
the early scuttlebutt's coming in about Batman versus Superman. Oh boy.
No, that's this week. That comes out this week too. I'm not going to see it. I'm not going. I put my foot down. I'm not going to see it.
From what I read, you're not going to be missing too much.
Well, since we're done with the news and with the birthdays, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we are going to have our interview with one of the writers, or rather essayists, from Chicks Dig Time Lords, Kathryn Sullivan. We'll be right back here on Krypton Radio.
New weekend, new location, new adventures. This is Oasis 28. Oasis 28 is presented by the Orlando Area Science Fiction Society. It's not your typical convention. Oasis 28 is Orlando's fan-operated science fiction convention that brings you the fun and excitement of speculative fiction in all its forms. Friday, April 22nd to Sunday, April 24th at the DoubleTree by Hilton Hotel, Orlando East, and parking is free. For prices, information, and to obtain discounted tickets, visit oasfis.org/oasis. Sign up to volunteer and get special membership rates. Oasis 28 supports anti-bullying and promotes a cosplay-safe environment.
Remote Control is the new TV podcast from the Geekcast Radio Network. We'll be covering TV shows and topics from the year 2000 to whenever now is. We'll have special themed episodes entitled Pilot and Season Premieres, as well as finishing finales. We'll also have Season Pass episodes, where we take a look at an entire season of a TV show. Remote Control can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, and www.geekcastradio.com. So tune in, because we are all remote controlled.
Attention all Whovians! While you're waiting for the new episode of Doctor Who, start your own adventures with a book from Mark Who 42 Books. They carry unique and rare books at affordable prices. Visit amazon.com/shops/markwho42. That's amazon.com/shops/markwho42. Mark Who 42 Books. Set your imagination free into the Whoniverse.
Well, I am shocked and dismayed. Well, now you can't be both. You be shocked, I'll be dismayed.
Coming in 2016, Steve Megatron and myself, TF2 and Mike, bring you a brand new TV review show. Welcome to Podcaster Meets World. That's right. We're launching a Boy and Girl Meets World review podcast here on the GCRN. It'll take us 70 episodes of the podcast to review all 158 episodes of Boy Meets World. After that, we will tackle Girl Meets World. You can find Podcaster Meets World on geekcastradio.com and iTunes starting late summer, early fall 2016. So come on and walk through the world with us.
I love the thing they call.
The voice of Christian-basel, take one.
Hi, I'm Christian-basel, and I would like to provide my voice for all your voiceover needs, such as...
Okay, like an announcer.
Like a what?
Like an announcer.
For all your voiceover needs, such as animation, radio, announcements, introductions...
Now an old man.
I can even record voicemail for all the Meshuggahs that call you.
A pirate.
Arr, and it won't cost you a lot of treasure for me services. Arr.
Creepy movie voice.
Just call 407-761-2679. 407-761-2679. Or email voiceofchristian-basel@yahoo.com. Well, how was that?
That's a wrap.
Hi, this is Michael Winslow, and you're listening to Mark, WHO 42. I'm going to open the door, because you know what you're going to get. This way to the Hobbit!
Welcome back to Mark Who 42. That's right, Mark Who 42, Doctor Who on Krypton Radio. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. With me, as always, are Kayla-ascolillo, Christian-basel, Patty-Hawkins, and we've got a very special guest all the way from, I guess, Florida. That's not very far from where we are. It's Kathryn Sullivan.
Hi. Actually, I'm in Memphis right now.
Oh, you're in Memphis. Are you at a convention?
Yeah, Mid-South Con.
Ah, okay, cool. We caught you at a convention. That's good. Who's the special guest there?
Oh, my goodness. We had...
I think Kathryn Sullivan.
Yeah, Kathryn Sullivan. That was your answer, Kathryn.
Oh, that was supposed to be my answer?
That
Okay.
was your answer. But you're having fun.
Yeah.
That's the most important part about convention.
Is this more a literature-based side of things, or books or whatever? Is this a generic convention?
It's more of a generic convention. There's a literary track, there's a gaming track, there's masquerade. Yeah, lots of things.
All right.
All right. So, Kathryn, can you tell the people who are listening to the show exactly who you are?
Well, I write young adult fantasy and science fiction. Been doing that ever since I was 14, and been published since in 2000s. At the same time, I was also a major Doctor Who fan, so I was reviewing a lot of the fan videos back in the 90s and for some of the newsletters, and writing my own short fan fiction back in the 80s, getting those published fanzines, and by the 90s got published in a couple of Big Finish anthologies.
Yeah, you did some short trips, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The Short Trips and the Dead Man Diary. So I actually wrote for Bernice-Summerfield. Yes.
Bernice-Summerfield. We had her on the show.
Yeah.
But cool. No, so you're an accomplished writer. And of course, the one, and we'll talk about this one a little bit later on, Chicks Dig Time Lords.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because chicks do dig Time Lords. Isn't that right, Kayla? Kayla?
Yeah, we sure do.
And have been ever since it started airing over in the U.S.
I could just imagine Kayla going, she didn't answer because she's like, duh.
Oh,
really answer this question?
Side eye there. That's why Chicks Dig Time Lords came out, because we kept being told that, oh no, women weren't interested in Doctor Who until the new series. Say what?
But you see, here's the thing. When I was growing up, and I was a Doctor Who fan since 1978, the people in school, the one or two other people who liked Doctor Who were guys. Now, we had a Doctor Who club in the 80s, and there were some women that were in the club. So, I always knew that women liked it, but there was a stigma that it was a male-dominated fandom show, and I'm not really sure where that came out of.
It came out basically in the UK because that's where that idea formed. I ran a Doctor Who fan club in a college town.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want me to get into the statistics of... Yeah. Okay, so we were open to the general college town, so the whole public were able to come. So you would get elementary school, it'd be boys and girls. High school, it'd be mostly boys. College, it'd be all women. And after college, you got all the men and women attending.
So the college-age people were all women?
Yep.
Wow.
The guys were too cool for that.
I was too not cool, so I kept watching Doctor Who during college. Wow.
You just want to keep everything consistent.
Oh, see, now why couldn't my college have had all women who liked Doctor Who? I totally, well, that's another story.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's not even go there.
Well, Kathryn, from a woman's perspective, what is your appeal to Doctor Who? Who was your first Doctor? Who's your favorite?
The first one I saw introduced to me that I actually realized was Doctor Who was Tom Baker.
Woohoo!
However, I realized later on when I was starting to look back at the show, okay, I'm dating myself. Back in the late 60s, Chicago area where I was growing up was airing the Peter Cushing movies.
That sounds like my prom date. I was just dating myself.
Yeah. So, actually, I was introduced to Peter Cushing, but realizing it was a series, it was Tom Baker.
So you were calling him Doctor Who. Literally.
Yeah, because that's what he was. He was a human. And
Doctor Who, what is this? Well,
let me tell you, Ian.
I had to explain to new Who fans over the years just mechanically where those movies sort of fall into, and I always say, look, they get an asterisk. They're fun to watch because they've got rainbow Daleks before the paradigm Daleks, and they're truncated version of the original stories. But
it's an alternate universe.
But caveat But I consider Peter Cushing to be an alternative mechanical doctor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still waiting for his action figure.
I'd sell that to you at Mark-42 Books, Patty. I'd sell you a Peter Cushing doll if I could find you one.
You'd sell my mother if you could.
Yeah, okay.
So, Kathryn, why do you think chicks dig Time Lords?
See, now, at the time period I was growing up, we had, as an example for science fiction shows, Captain Kirk, who fell in love every week with a new person. We started seeing the Doctor.
Different alien, too. So.
He loved the ship more than any woman.
He did, but it started falling into the stereotype if he fell in love with a new person every week.
Well, I'm not sure if I'd say he fell in love with them.
Okay, fell in lust, but we're talking
that would be the
12-year-old, okay?
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. The point about it is he was a romantic gadfly.
So when you started running to the Doctor, okay, the first Tom Baker episode I was introduced to, as I explained in Chicks Dig Time Lords, my friend wanted me to write fan fiction, and so she introduced me to Brain of Morbius.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yes. You had a matriarchal society every bit as powerful as the Time Lords. You had Sarah Jane rescuing the Doctor.
Right.
And they just were friends. And this was cool. This was different.
Yeah, I can see that, definitely. I still wonder why none of my old girlfriends ever dig Doctor Who. It just doesn't make sense.
Depends on how you introduced it.
Well, I mean, now I'm with the woman I'm with now is a Doctor Who fan, thank God. And Kathryn, you met her, and she says hi, by the way.
Oh, hi.
Well, here's a bit of the interesting take back about the time that we grew up and the time that we're in currently right now. For twofolds. First of all, back in the 80s, I actually had one other friend that I ever found in my high school life who was not only a Doctor Who fan, she actually cosplayed during Halloween as Romana too.
All right.
And it was nice just to have somebody to geek out to. Flash forward to Facebook time, I'm finding out there were a ton of people who were Doctor Who, but they sat in the closet like me because they didn't want to come out. They were afraid to come out and mention it. This is something, when they were coming out with, G.I. Joe and Transformers and all that, they did not want to talk about this. This is just something that you just did not mention, but they were sitting at home watching on their PBS channel.
Christian, I got to tell you something I've never told you before.
Oh, you're going to say it on the radio show?
No. Yeah, I'm going to say it on the radio show. One Halloween when I was younger, I went out as Tom Baker's Doctor. I had the scarf, I had the hat, I had the coat. I geeked myself out embarrassingly, and people were like, "Who are you supposed to be?" I don't know who you are. Who are you supposed to be?
And then when I would say Doctor Who, they were like, who? Oh, they would say that too.
Exactly.
Who's that? What's with the scarf? What's with the robe on?
Aren't you hot? You're in Florida. Aren't you hot?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was bad. I'm just going to steer the conversation a little bit. Kayla, you came in with New Who. Why do you, as a chick, dig a Time Lord?
Well, I just love science fiction in general, but Doctor Who it's something new. You know, it's not just traveling in space. It's not just time travel. It's a little bit of like best of both worlds, I guess.
Now, Kathryn, going from Classic Who,
Yeah.
which the stigma was we do not have any relationship with the companions. Flashing forward to 1996, where all the Whovians are going, no, wait, she kissed him! And now into 2005, where it's just almost in every other episode where the Doctor's getting snogged, with the exception of Capaldi. What do you think about the love interest Doctor now?
I'm not too thrilled about it, but then we had to kind of get used to it with the 96 film. And at that point, we could basically excuse it because he was just so excited about the new body and everything else. It was just new to him.
When he did it by the tree, when he was trying to figure himself out, he was certainly trying to figure out, and I could excuse it as a moment of madness, and he did that. But then as soon as he departs with Dr. Grace Holloway, they kiss one more time by the fireworks, which now kind of sealed it in as a romantic interest. So it didn't just leave by there. So
I don't know. Back in the day, I think I probably thought that he was just being friendly, and this is the strange Earth custom. They're like, okay, fine. But unfortunately today, things are a little more sexualized, so this is the way RTD brought it back. So my problem is we're mayflies to them. We only live a very short lifespan, so
That's
but
true.
that always bothered me with some of the other science fiction shows too. It's like, really? It's the same thing like the idea of vampires hanging around a high school and falling in love with the girls.
and they sparkle
again. No.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's worse. The fall in love with a girl who's never lived any life, or fall in love with a girl and then the vampire goes back to his home and there's a portrait of his lost love, which is, of course, a dead ringer for this girl in modern days. She is just like her. She is her, and she'll be mine again. It's like, oh, boy, we haven't seen this before, have we, boys?
Dark Shadows, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So one of the things you got to do in your career, like you said before, you got to write for Big Finish's Short Trips. And in the book Short Trips Repercussions, you got to write for one of my favorite two pairings, the Sixth Doctor and Evelyn-Smythe.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little about how you got the gig for that?
But that was basically because Gary Russell invited me to. And don't know if you heard of the story of when Evelyn-Smythe was created. Gary Russell was in Minnesota for Convergence.
Right.
And a group of us was sitting around the pool while he was trying to think of a new character, and we were all contributing things like she'd have a cardigan, she'd love chocolate, she'd be an older woman. That was Sean Lyon's contribution, or Gary, the both of them. And I still like the idea of Evelyn, and I wanted to write a story with her in there. Somehow or another, Gary invited me to contribute to Short Trips, and I said, I'd like to write Evelyn, please.
And right, you did.
Yeah. She still, in that short story, had the chocolate fixation, because that's one of the things that when she was originally created, she was going to be.
Yeah, I never heard that story about how she was created. It was a group thing. That's cool. And Maggie-Stables, she did a great job.
She was just wonderful with that.
Sad that she is no longer with us, but she lives on in Big Finish.
She lives on. Yeah. She was the beginning of the transformation of the Sixth Doctor in the audios, because you actually saw a new side to the Sixth Doctor.
Yeah.
And he's so great. So glad they were able to not really reform him, but actually show people how great a Doctor the Sixth Doctor actually is.
I thought Evelyn passed.
Yeah, the character,
Yes.
The Doctor,
the character has passed.
And it was a heart-tugging passing, because for her to destroy the enemy, she actually had to pass away.
Yeah.
Which I could feel the feels on that one. That was very painful.
Yeah.
But what do you think about the direction that Classic is going into New Who now?
That they're actually bringing back things?
Well, not only that, but what do you think about the direction? I'm sorry, let me phrase the question. What do you think about New Who now as opposed to Classic, and do you like the direction that it's going?
I mean, other than the fact that they got kissy all the time. I like the fact
Well, you can elaborate on that if you like. That's something that's new to the series. As a classic person, I've adapted to. And always the question now comes up, can the companion have a relationship with the Doctor without having any sexual connotations in the new series? And I'm like, I would hope so. Do we have to have the Rose, the Martha, we kind of had the Donna, but she still got snogged, but for a different reason.
Right.
But can we have a companion that just wants to have a good time?
Well, we had Donna. And we're not quite sure with Clara, but now we've got the new companion coming in, and I hope Capaldi stays on longer. I'd like to see him with a different showrunner.
Yeah, me too.
I think we do too, yeah.
I think all of us do.
Agree with him. And all the new Doctors have always had an element of some of the classic Doctors, because some of them were copying Troughton, some of them were copying Pertwee, and with Capaldi, you're getting the Hartnell, you're getting the Pertwee, you're getting the Troughton all in there, and sometimes Tom Baker too. So I like the fact that the new Doctors are all incorporating various aspects of the classic Doctors' personalities, which has been fun. Other directions, I'm usually shaking my fist at the TV set going, Moffat, no!
Yeah, we're definitely with you on that. What other things have you written in terms of the science fiction fantasy worlds?
My other writing, I write young adult fantasy and science fiction. One of it's more of like a portal story where two kids are dragged into a magical universe and has to break a curse.
Mm-hmm.
So my elevator pitch is you got witches, wizards, and talking horses, and I tend to keep having the talking horses reappear in most of the other stories too. I was horse crazy as a kid, so And I've got a couple of short stories in anthologies from Dark Oak Press, one of which is a pirate anthology, which could have been technically a Doctor Who story that got modified as I changed into space pirates and had more of a patrol aspect, trying to fight off some space pirates.
Right.
Kathryn, who and what inspired you to start writing?
Oh, gosh. It was more my dad's fault, because the basement of our house...
That's an interesting way to put it. It's his
fault.
I'm the fourth kid in a family of 5, so there were books all over the place. So I was reading my brothers and sisters' books and mysteries. My mother had the entire Oz series, all the old books. And then I found my dad's science fiction collection, and I never looked back. That's what I was reading. When I was 14, it was a rainy day. I had read every single book in the house, and I figured, I could do this. So I started writing stories about intergalactic agents with girls, because I got really tired of, nowadays we kept saying that, girls can identify with boys being the hero. Well, why? So I started writing more women wizards and girls who were saving the universe, and just kept going from there.
When was the particular moment that you said, I can do this? Was there a book that you read, or did you start just jotting stuff down and saying, listen, I can keep this going on? I can tell I was heavily influenced by Lord of the Rings, because when I look back at my fantasy book, it's like, there's the elves, they're going into caves, heavy influence there. And James Smith's Agent of Vega story, because that's where my intergalactic agents kind of came from. So I can see elements of that looking back. But I was reading a lot of science fiction stories from the 50s and 40s. My dad's collection went way back because he had all the astounding science fiction stories. Then I just started thinking, I can do this too, because I'd already grown out of the stage of playing with my friends where we always were playing Star Trek. Some of us were Kirk, some of us are Mr. Spock or Spock's girlfriend or whatever. And it was also the time of Man from U.N.C.L.E., so we had Uncle, so we had to play those.
Yeah.
But I was already getting past the stage of doing that with my friends, so I started writing the stories, because I was always the one leading the adventures that we were playing. It's like, write this down. Going back to Doctor Who, would you rather be the Doctor, or would you rather be his companion? I'd rather be the Doctor.
Would you really?
Yeah.
Why?
To be able to control the TARDIS, to be able to be in contact with the TARDIS.
He doesn't control the TARDIS.
He doesn't control the TARDIS.
Found that out for
I'm sorry. Thank you for playing. But
she lets him think, and to actually be able to be the one who can figure out the problem, know kind of how to solve it, unless you're one of the companions who actually does that.
And, the old show, the companion was more of a cipher on the classic series. And on the new show, the companion, and this is something that we've had a problem with, like Clara, it seems to take over and be the main character of the show.
Yeah.
But you still would go with the Doctor.
Yeah, because I'm still, because I was used to the classic series. The classic series was, oh gosh, companion has to be rescued, unless you're Barbara, in which case you are leading the adventure. But more and more, it was always the idea that you're always being dragged off by some alien that's fallen in love with you and you have to be rescued.
Right.
Whereas with Donna or... Martha did a number of adventures on her own. But basically, Donna, as the role model for that, she would basically be talking the Doctor into things.
Yeah, Donna worked. Donna, I think, worked as a leading character. It did motivate the stories and stuff. But what is your opinion on the dynamic? And I'm bringing up we talk about this all the time on the show, and we thought we were going to stop talking about it because she's not on the show anymore. But Clara, I mean, what was your take on Clara?
Depends on who was writing her.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair, because we always see the stories version.
Because I always got really tired of, it still grates on me with Name of the Doctor, when she gives that line of, I was born to save the Doctor. No, Clara, no, that's not the purpose of your life.
Oh.
All her splits, though, yeah, but she had her own life. And she definitely was a control freak, telling the Doctor, well, you come back on Wednesdays and we'll have adventures then. It's like, that's an interesting take on this. I wouldn't be going back to a job. I'd be going off on adventures all the time.
Yeah, what do you think of the commuter companion that Stephen Moffat has brought into the series?
Yeah, that was just a bit off.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't quite tell if the Doctor was having adventures from like Monday to Tuesday and then Wednesday to go pick her up, or did he just jump? Because I could see the 11th Doctor just jumping ahead to every single Wednesday.
Yeah,
having the life in between, and that was weird.
It was.
But in a way, Sarah Jane could have been a commuter companion, too, for a while, because she had her own job.
Yes, she did. She was a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Do you love Sarah Jane?
I like her a lot. I don't really have one favorite. I mean, you've got Zoe, you've got Leela, you've got Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
Among the classic companions, those are top ones.
My first episode that I had seen was Sontaran Experiment episode 2. And so Sarah, my companion, Harry Sullivan, definitely the imbecile. Definitely the imbecile. And Tom was the Tom. I mean, it's a great show. But as I grew up, Sylvester became my favorite Doctor. I love Sylvester McCoy.
Speaking of all these female companions, of the new series, who do you think was the best sort of role model for girls?
Donna.
I agree.
Definitely Donna.
Why is that, though, Kathryn?
They were friends traveling, and she would basically spur some adventures. It got a little weird when she became Dr. Donna, and I really hated the way she had to leave.
Yeah.
The idea of having her memories removed. Like, oh. And I'm very glad that Clara stood up to the Doctor when that was almost repeated again. And said, no, everything that's lived, it's mine. You're not taking my memories away from me. But it's been fun at going to science fiction conventions and seeing all the little Roses and all the little Marthas and all the little Donnas running around.
Did you ever think that Doctor Who would go this big, that the conventions would go out of control from the classic series to what it is now?
Back in the day, I never would have expected it, but oh my gosh, it's been so fantastic to watch it grow.
Yeah.
And to have so many people adapt it. It's like, oh.
What's your most interesting convention story that you've had?
Ooh, oh my. I don't quite know where to begin. Because back in the day of the classic conventions, I was also helping out as a minder for some of the different doctors. It's like, just basically escorting Sylvester McCoy around, or you basically turned him loose and just followed him around and collected things for him and just carried things around for him. Geez. There's been so many, I don't really know how to single out any single one of them.
Kathryn, we're up to the point of the show where we ask our guests what's coming up to talk about, basically plugging away. You get to tell us what to look for in the next few months coming out from Kathryn Sullivan.
I've got to write faster because I'm still working on a young adult space colony story. And right now, if you're only talking about a small time span, one of my publishers at my young adult fantasy books is closing down at the end of March. So you only have until March 30th If you want to get the e-copies or the paper copies from Amber Quill Press.
Do you have the URL for that, so that they could do it? Because this is coming out. This will be out in time.
Okay. They can go directly to my website, which is Kathryn Sullivan, KathrynSullivan.com, which will have links to it because Amber Quill is a rather big press. So you could go there and which is amberquill.com, and just look for The Crystal Throne, Talking to Trees, Agents in the Depths. Those are the books, and they're all 60% off until March 30th. So you can get a book for $2.80. Paperback, of course, available at Amazon. But Amazon, in their ignorance, decided to take the e-links down already.
Oh.
Only get the e-versions from Amber Quill. I've also got short stories only available electronically from Amber Quill, which is Search and Rescue. It's been nominated for an award. I'm waiting to find out if it wins or not. Hiding in Plain Sight, which is a free short story. And Oracle of Cleance, which is an Etruscan story, the only romantic story I've written. So those are available only until March 30th.
Okay. Well, guys, rush to get those. Yeah, definitely. Kathryn, I want to thank you very much for coming on our show. It finally happened. I've known you. I met you 4 years ago. It finally happened.
Yeah.
Any final questions from the Peanut Gallery for Kathryn?
You mentioned earlier about your early days in fan fiction. What was that like in that time? Because I always feel like the term fanfic, of course, has basically become a very pejorative term, and I feel like it's kind of a disservice to it. Because I remember picking up some stuff at the odd Omnicon and thinking some of this stuff was really good. And what was that scene like in those ancient pre-internet days?
It depended on what type of fan fiction you were writing. I was one of those who's trying to match the show entirely. So when I was playing in somebody else's sandbox, I wanted to make sure everything was put back exactly the way it was supposed to be. So I was trying to get Leela right on when I did a Fourth Doctor and Leela's story. And you usually got responses back in the letter columns, because this is before all electronic. This is all paper. So you always got letters to the editors back, and it was nice getting people complimenting on your writing. Or telling you, oh, wait a minute, Leela wouldn't have done that. And of course, this was back in the days where you had to rent a VCR in order to watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
So if they had something good to say about you, you knew it was good, because they had to actually sit down with a typewriter or write it out, put a stamp on it, and send it in. And once in a blue moon, I'll run across like a PDF of something of some really like 70s or early 80s stuff, and I'm like, and I skimmed through it, and I'm like, you know what? I wish somebody would go back and try to give somebody needs to fight in defense of the early days of fanfic. As far as everybody concerned about now, it just kind of has a black eye for giving us the concept of the Mary Sue, which I think is a big disservice to authors like yourself and a lot of others who came out of that into the professional side of the spectrum.
I still have Jodie Lynn Nye's fanzine stories. I keep telling her that. And there's a number of people who came out of that. Anyhow, sorry.
No, Kathryn, again, I want to thank you. And before we go, one thing we did not touch upon is Bernice-Summerfield. How is it different writing for a Benny story than a Doctor Who story?
Well, Benny can't pull a result out of the hat. She basically had to analyze things, and it was fun writing her, because my short story was focusing on her archaeologist and her skills on that, and having her getting really intent on trying to follow the mystery of this particular tomb was fun, really exciting. And it helped also because I was also an archaeology major in school, so like, yes, it's fun.
So you must love River Song.
I touched better when she was called Benny. But that's another one of the Moffat, really?
Really? So it was nice to have Benny back in Big Bang Generation in print.
Yes, that's so great. And actually have her interacting with Capaldi.
Yeah.
Gary Wells did a really good job with that.
Well, on that note, once again, Kathryn, thank you very much for coming on Mark Who 42.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
I am blessed. He's pushing 70, and he still is trying to break the record for being the oldest guy to climb Mount Everest. And he's always been screwed over perpetually. It's like, but he still wants to make it, and that's pretty damn impressive.
It is. Kathryn, once again, thank you very much for coming on our show. Here at Mark Who 42, we've been making convention appearances, and we will continue to do so. Patty, tell them what you have for next weekend.
Next weekend, I will be in Jacksonville for Collective Con. It's going to be an expansion. It's going to be 3 days, the weekend of 1st to the 3rd. Guests include Kevin Sorbo from Hercules and Andromeda, Candace Patton from The Flash, and Robin Lord Taylor, Penguin himself from Gotham.
Oh, wow.
And he also had a bit part in some zombie show called The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I heard
Nobody
about
ever heard of that.
Yeah, I
So
heard
anyway.
something about that.
So yeah, I'll be sort of their MC in residence. I'll be doing their panels and costume contests and stuff like that. Well, you guys are going to be busy that weekend doing something else, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be doing Hurricane Who's Bon Voyage. Well, we can't actually call it Paradox because there are not two doctors be there. Maybe Unidocs.
Unidocs.
It's a Bon Voyage party.
It's
going to be the Unidoc, Peter Davison, the Fifth Doctor, Katie Manning, which
My
would
secret
be
girlfriend.
your girlfriend, right? Fraser Hines, who played Jamie and is the subject matter of the great star show Outlander, even though it really isn't. Terry Malloy, who played Davros. Ian McNeice, who was Winston Churchill, and Colin Spall, and he did both classic and New Who.
Churchill, his rejected brother. They have a separate Big Finish for him.
Yeah, they do. Hey, the Big Finish was great, and I actually should have some of those with us at the convention for Mark Who 42 Books. We will be there. We will be doing a panel on, I think you said podcasts?
Yes, we're going to be doing a panel about podcasts. This is interesting. We still don't have all the details to it, but I believe we're going to be joined by another Doctor Who podcast to talk about Doctor Who and how it's influenced podcasting. I think that's what I have been discussing with. We will be finding more details about it. Yeah, well, we will have at least one panel out there, and of course Mark Who 42 Books will be out there selling Big Finish. So.
Yeah. And some of the books that came out during the Wilderness years, along with some sonic screwdrivers and some other fun stuff. And we'll have a show special on the TARDIS bookends. Really cool looking, and you should pick them up. And I'm taking another drink. It's the second drink of the show, I think. And here's the best part. Saturday is absolutely free. That's right. At the Hurricane Who Bon Voyage party, you can come into the convention on Saturday and not pay for it. Save all your money for the dealer's room. That's what I do. What do we have in 2 weeks after that, Christian?
Well, in 2 weeks after that, Mark Who 42 Books and Mark Who 42 team comes over to Space Coast Nerdfest 2016. I think it's their third year.
Yeah.
Doing this. It's our second year with them.
Yeah.
We will be, again, hosting panels. And, of course, we'll have Mark 242 Books. If you happen to be out by the Space Coast and aren't able to make it to Hurricane Who, we will provide you with all the Doctor Who merchandise and Big Finish audiobooks out there as well, if you want to stick around for that.
But mostly we'll be talking Doctor Who in the panels and other things, and you'll be able to meet and greet with us, Mark Who 42.
There you go.
And that was a really great show last year. It really was. So it was a lot of fun. It was a nice grassroots sort of feel to it. It was actually my favorite show of last year, next to Dragon Con. You know, really just had the great energy, and everybody just had a good time. And yeah, definitely come out and check that out. Also, if we have anybody out in Seattle, I will also be at Emerald Con, the weekend of Emerald Con. I'll be doing MC work and crowd warm-up and hosting out there as well, out in Seattle. So I'll bring my galoshes and my umbrella.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just to jump right back to Space Coast Nerdfest, just to remind folks, April 16th and 17th. It used to be a one-day event, and it's gotten so big that it's expanded to not only 2 days, but they went into a bigger facility, the Rialto Hilton,
yes,
in Melbourne, Florida. So it's gonna be huge, and I'm sure it's just got. I mean, if you really want to geek out, this is the place to go. But there is one more convention coming up right behind us, and I want to bring Kayla in on that one because she's going to it.
Oasis coming up soon. That is going to be on April 22nd to the 24th down in the UCF area.
It's a literary science fiction
literally.
convention. But they're expanding, and they want to have a Doctor Who panel, and we were gracious enough to allow Kayla to represent us there. So that's coming up soon. There'll be a lot of other good things. You probably heard the commercial for it during the break we had a while back before the Kathryn Sullivan interview. And it should be fun. And Kayla, you are going to be there having a good time, I hope.
Yes, I will.
Wish I could be gone, but too many conventions. It's just got my regular day job, too.
We are everywhere.
We're everywhere.
That's why it's important to book us early, because we have a first-come, first-served attitude.
Yeah. heroesonhand.com/markwho42. You can go to book us for your conventions. You can always reach us at markwho42media@yahoo.com as well. This weekend coming up is Easter Sunday, so have a happy Easter to all.
And a reminder, too, that the one true Easter Bunny is Irontail, and Peter Cottontail only defeated him through time travel chicanery.
Ah, okay.
Love it.
That's not like the Krampus.
No. I'm talking about January Q Irontail from the Rankin Bass special. Here Comes Peter Cottontail, voiced by Vincent Price, one of the greatest Rankin Bass characters ever. And that's why I always say every year, I always say the same thing. My Easter Bunny has an iron tail.
Okay. Don't forget to go to markwho42.net and join a WHOniverse army. Try our Facebook page, markwho42. Tweet us at markwho42. You can find us everywhere around the net on TuneIn, Stitcher, geekcastradio.com. You can find us at floridageekscene.com. You can listen to us on Krypton Radio. And now, like I said earlier, you can listen to us on your TV with Roku TV. It's a great device, and I'm very happy that we're now broadcasting on that as well. Do we have any final words?
See, Irontail once had a fluffy tail, but a child ran over it with a roller skate. And ever since then, he hated children, which of course, I sympathize the same way.
Yeah, I was going to say, Patty, that's totally up your alley.
Well, you got to remember too. What did he want to do? He wanted to make, instead of like chocolate eggs, he wanted to have like chocolate octopuses and tarantulas. And I'm like, dude, keep talking, because so far you said nothing wrong.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone. Bye.
What do you care, Mark?
Bye, everyone. Have a good Easter, and we'll talk to you next time here on Mark Who 42. Mark Who 42 was written and presented by Mark Baumgarten, Kayla-ascolillo, Patty-Hawkins, and Christian-basel. This episode was edited, directed, and produced by Mark Baumgarten. Visit markwho42.net, where you can register and become part of the WHOniverse Army. We can be contacted by email at mark@markwho42, subject line, ? If you'd like a chance to be a guest on our radio show, send an email to our Media Relations Director, Christian-basel, at markwho42media@yahoo.com. You can have Mark Who 42 entertain at your next event or convention. Go to heroesonhand.com/markwho42. Doctor Who and its properties are owned by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. This show is owned and copyrighted by Mark Baumgarten 2016. This is Krypton Radio.